Welcome to the deep dive. So we've talked before about AI coding assistants, tools like Windsurf, Cursor, Cline. We looked at what they could do.
Right, the potential, the theory behind them.
Exactly. But today, we're sharpening the focus, this deep dive. It's all about getting practical, real-world application.
Moving beyond the specs on a website.
Yes. We're digging into actual case studies, figuring out the return on investment, the ROI, and importantly, tackling those sometimes tricky integration challenges.
Getting them working in your workflow.
Right. So if you're looking to get up to speed quickly, really understand this, but without getting lost in, technical overload, you're in the right place.
It's one thing to read about features, quite another to see how they actually play out day to day for developers. That real-world piece is, well, it's crucial for seeing the true impact.
Okay, let's dive into those real examples.
Yeah.
First up, front-end web development. I want to talk about Sarah. She's a lead dev, small e-commerce startup, and they had that classic problem, backlog piling up, deadlines for landing pages, new features, just slipping.
Sounds familiar. Very common scenario.
Totally. So Sarah decided to trial Windsurf, specifically to automate some of the repetitive stuff.
Like what, exactly?
Generating boilerplate React components, those basic building blocks for modern websites, and also handling API integrations, basically getting different bits of software talking to each other.
Ah, okay. So she didn't try to boil the ocean, just targeted specific pain points.
Exactly. That targeted strategy is key. Identifying where automation gives the quickest wins, generating basic code, handling those API calls.
Makes sense. A pilot approach. Smart.
And the results, pretty impressive.
Wow.
Sarah reported nearly a 30% cut in development time for those specific tasks.
Wow, 30%. That's significant time back.
It really is, almost a third. But it wasn't just speed. It meant her senior developers, the really experienced ones, they could actually focus.
On the harder problem.
Yes. Complex stuff like state management, the app's brain, or crafting those slick UI animations that make an app feel great.
Right. So it's also about redistributing the workload effectively, letting experts focus on high-value tasks. And Sarah also mentioned code consistency, right?
She did. Good point. That might sound minor, but it's actually huge.
Oh, absolutely.
They set up Windsurf with their team's coding style guide, so the AI just followed the rules consistently.
Like a style guide enforcer that never gets tired.
Exactly. Which meant less time nitpicking and code reviews about, spacing or variable names, and fewer bugs because the code was just more uniform.
Lower review time, fewer bugs introduced, that compounds.
So for you listening, if you're looking for those aha moments, this is one. Automating seemingly small stuff like basic code generation can ripple outwards.
Yeah.
Faster delivery, better quality, tangible benefits.
And it makes you think about scalability. If a small team sees this, what about larger organizations?
That's a really interesting question. Okay, let's shift gears. Case study number 2, mobile development. Meet David.
Okay.
He's a solo indie developer, Android app. And he was just feeling overwhelmed trying to keep up with the Android ecosystem. It changes constantly, right?
Constantly. New libraries, new best practices, device fragmentation. And it's a lot for one person.
Definitely. So he started using Cursor mostly for generating unit tests, those little automated checks for code correctness and refactoring legacy code.
Cleaning up the old stuff. Important, but often gets pushed back.
Right. And he had this great quote. He said, Cursor was like having an extra developer, but one that never complained and always remembered to write the tests.
Huh. I like that. It really highlights how AI can amplify a single developer's output, especially for tasks like testing that are crucial, but let's face it, can be tedious.
Totally. It lets someone working alone maintain quality without slowing down feature development too much.
And did it make a measurable difference for him?
Big time. David figures Cursor cut his testing time in half.
Half. That's massive for a solo dev. Frees up so much capacity.
Huge. More time for new features, polishing the UX, but maybe even more crucial, it made the app more stable, more robust, and dealing with that older code.
The technical debt.
Exactly. Cursor helped him tackle that. Clean up, restructure, making the code base easier to work with later.
Which is critical for sustainability. If you're solo and want to scale, you need a maintainable code base. Less time fighting fires, more time building.
So hopefully for you listening, this shows it's not just about the code right now. It's building a foundation for the future, less jargon, more building something solid.
Good point. It impacts the long-term health of the project.
Okay, final case study. Let's jump into data science. Maria. She works at a financial institution.
Okay, different world, high stakes.
Very, her big challenge. The sheer amount of data and the time suck of cleaning it, prepping it, engineering features, all the groundwork before you can even get to the interesting analysis
The
bits.
data wrangling, it's essential, but yeah, it can consume so much time.
So she brought in Cline to automate as much of that as possible.
Interesting, because in data science, there's that tension, right, between the technical data manipulation and the actual analytical thinking.
Exactly. Tools like Cline can handle the more routine data stuff, freeing up data scientists like Maria for the core job, finding insights.
So what were her results?
Pretty dramatic. Maria said Cline automated up to 70% of those data prep tasks.
70%. Wow, that's transformative. More time for modeling, for interpretation.
Absolutely. Building predictive models, analyzing the results. But there was another benefit, too. Cline helped identify potential data biases.
Ah, that's huge in finance. Bias can lead to inaccurate models,
Yeah.
potentially costing millions.
Exactly. So Cline helped improve model accuracy and reliability by flagging those potential issues early. It's speed, quality, and bias detection. Powerful stuff.
So across front-end mobile data science, we're seeing a pattern. Efficiency, quality, freeing up experts for strategic work.
Definitely. Which brings us nicely to the bigger picture, return on investment, ROI.
Right. We've seen the anecdotal evidence, the time savings, but how do we quantify that value?
It's crucial. And like you hinted earlier, ROI isn't just, did we code faster?
No, it's much broader. You've got to factor in reduced bug fixing costs, right? Easier code maintenance over time.
Yeah, and even things like developer satisfaction. Happier devs tend to stick around longer, and lowering turnover saves a ton of money.
A huge, often hidden cost saving.
So back to Sarah's team, that 30% time saving on front-end tasks, that worked out to roughly 2 weeks of a developer's time per month.
Wow. Calculate the cost of a senior dev for 2 weeks. That adds up fast.
It does, plus less stress on the team, which usually means better work anyway.
And for David, the solo guy, that $5,000 a year saved on bug fixes and downtime might not sound massive to a big company, but for him.
Crucial. It's a financial buffer, maybe reinvestment capital, and that's just one app.
And Maria in finance, the value of catching bias and improving model accuracy, that could easily be millions saved, preventing bad decisions. Astronomical ROI potential there.
So the key takeaway here seems to be, yeah, there's an upfront cost learning, maybe subscription fees, but the potential return, often way bigger.
But and it's a big but, realizing that ROI isn't automatic. You need planning, you need implementation, you need to adapt how you work.
Exactly. Which leads us to the last mile problem, right? The integration challenges. Getting these tools to actually work smoothly in your day-to-day.
Yeah, this is super important. They're powerful, these tools, but they're not magic wands. You don't just switch them on and everything's perfect.
No kidding. Challenge 1, the learning curve.
Definitely.
Devs need to learn how to write good prompts, how to actually talk to the AI effectively, and how to look at the output critically, not just blindly accept it. Plus, fitting it into their existing flow.
It takes time. Training, experimentation, it's a skill to develop.
Then challenge 2, integrating with what you already have, your existing code base.
Oh, yeah. Like Sarah's case hinted, these tools often work best with code that's already pretty well structured, well documented.
Right. If you've got older, maybe kind of messy spaghetti code, the AI might just get confused.
Or worse, make things messier.
Yeah.
So you need careful planning there, maybe a phased approach. Don't try to AIify everything at once if the foundation isn't solid.
Good point. And challenge 3, the classic garbage in, garbage out.
Always true.
The quality you get out depends entirely on the quality you put in. If your requirements are vague, if your coding standards are all over the place, if there's no documentation.
The AI is not going to magically fix that. It might even amplify the inconsistencies. So clear docs, solid standards, good testing, they become even more critical.
And briefly, challenge 4, ethical stuff. Potential biases in the AI's training data, the impact on developer skills long-term, important questions to keep asking.
Absolutely. Not blockers necessarily, but things to be mindful of. So given these hurdles, how do teams actually adapt? How do you make this work in practice?
I think it's got to be pragmatic, iterative, start small, like you said.
Yeah, don't try to change everything overnight. Pick a small, low-risk area first.
Find specific tasks where automation seems like a clear win. Experiment. See what works for your team, your projects.
And if you're using Agile or Scrum, maybe identify tasks in sprint planning that are good candidates. Let interested developers try the tools out.
Yes. And track the results. Learn, adjust, create a learning culture around it.
Encourage people to share what works, what doesn't. Tips, tricks, even the fails. Collaborative learning speeds things up.
Totally. And we have to keep saying it. Human review is still absolutely essential.
Cannot stress that enough.
Yeah.
The AI generates code, a human validates it. For correctness, for style, definitely for security.
The AI is an assistant, not the final authority.
Yeah.
Human oversight is non-negotiable.
And finally, document everything.
Oh, good one. Yes.
How are you using the tools? How are they integrated? What troubleshooting tips have you found? Write it down. It'll save you time later, especially as the team grows or changes.
Makes total sense. So, okay, to wrap things up, we've really dug into the practical side of AI coding assistants today.
Yeah, we looked at real examples. Front-end, mobile, data science. We talked ROI, how it's more than just speed, and tackled those integration challenges and adaptation strategies.
And I think it's clear these tools aren't just some future tech anymore. They're impacting software development now, changing how developers work.
Fundamentally changing things, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's crucial to reiterate that point we made. They're not replacing developers, not in the way people sometimes fear.
Right. It's more like augmentation, enhancing abilities.
Exactly. Taking away some of the repetitive strain, freeing up brain power for the creative, complex problem solving. That's where humans really shine.
Which leads us to a final thought for you listening right now, thinking about Sarah, David, Maria. How could you practically start exploring these tools in your own work, your own team?
Yeah, what's one small experiment you could try? Just one thing to start seeing if these benefits could apply in your world. Something to chew on.